And we're live on Facebook. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Walsall Speakers Toast Talks. This is where we're going to talk about how Toastmasters can influence your lives in more ways than just public speaking. My name is Asma and I'm going to be your host for today's episode. And this is episode 2, Toastmasters and Inspirational Authors. Walsall Speakers, we actually meet on the first, second, and third Thursday of each month. So if you would like to take part as a guest, please do email us at walsallspeakers@hotmail.com or contact us on any social media site for information on how you can attend. And remember, it's free for you to attend as a guest. Today, I have 4 lovely guests with me today. We have Tunde and Abz, who are members of Walsall Speakers. And we also have Mish and Tanya, who are the founders of Walsall Speakers, and all 4 of them are authors. So if you have any questions or comments, please do comment below on our Facebook live stream. So I'm just going to get each of you to introduce yourselves. So we're going to go ladies first. So Mish, can you introduce yourself to the audience and how long you've been at Toastmasters and why you joined?
Hi, my name's Mish. I've been at Toastmasters for about 7 years, just over 7 years. I joined because my daughter joined and she kept talking about it. And then one day I said, why don't you come along? And I had nothing to do. In fact, it's a hiatus in my life. I was not had any social outpouring at the time. I went along once and I was just hooked. I just love it. So
You've been a member ever since. And Tanya, how about yourself?
Hi, I'm Tanya Barrett here. I joined Toastmasters about 7.5 years ago. It's a very long story as to why I joined, but essentially it was to build up my public speaking. As they said, Mish, right next to me, joined a couple of months later, which really helped. I'm author of 2 books at the moment, so these might come up backwards. One is How to Make a Decision. Okay, you can see me. And the other one is How to Make a Decision, Lucy's Choice, which is a half fiction, half self-development book.
Fantastic. And Tunde?
Hi everyone, my name is Tunde. I'm a Toastmaster. I'm originally from Nigeria and I'm a medical doctor. Why did I join Toastmasters? For me personally, I was on a quest for self-development, and during that process, I encountered people like John Maxwell, Les Brown, Daniel Ali, and a couple other people that attested to Toastmasters and recommended Toastmasters as a place to develop your public speaking, communication, and leadership skills. So I searched for the closest Toastmasters club around me, which was Walsall Speakers. And then about October last year, I joined Toastmasters. I found it a very fun and relaxing environment where people were not judgmental and you could share ideas and learn. So I didn't even have to think about the membership. I just joined right away and I've been an active member ever since then.
Fantastic. Always great to have you at meetings, Tunde and Abz. Last but not least.
Hi everyone, my name is Abz Jalil from Birmingham, UK. I'm a speaker, coach, author, and entrepreneur. I joined Toastmaster nearly 2 years now. The reason I joined Toastmaster is to create new skills, hone my craft, improve my skills in terms of speaking, hosting, evaluating, and it helped. And if you join Toastmaster, it's good that you invest in yourself and it will help you in the real world and make you as a better person as well. So that's why I recommend people to join Toastmaster.
Fantastic, Abz. And Abz, tell us a little bit about the books you've wrote and published.
Okay. My first book.
There we go.
My first book I've done before March, I was like fully booked, like up to 6 months to do speaking on British Raj. And then suddenly this pandemic happened in March. And I thought, oh my God, all my booking just like cancelled. So I thought, why not just write a book on the British Raj to Birmingham? And that's what that clicked. Wow. Some people at the time would panic. I was like thinking, let's just write. All about doing books is about leaving a legacy. So someday or sometime, if I leave this world, at least a book is there for people to read and know my story, my past, present, and future. So that's why that was my first book. And I've written a second book. It's called How to Get 1,000 Reviews on Just Eat app.
Okay.
And that was based on knowledge and experience. I know the industry very well, so helping takeaway owners to improve the business and be very successful with the low funds as well.
Oh, lovely. So we will post the links to all the books afterwards. So I'm just going to move on to Tunde again. Tunde, do you want to talk to us a little bit about your book and
Sure.
what it's about?
Yeah. So my book is titled The Illiterate Professional: How to be Successful and Fulfilled in Your Life and Career. Many people find the title weird, saying illiterate professional. The words don't go together. But for me, I think the journey started from looking back at my own personal experience as a professional. So basically, I studied and I've been working for several years as a medical doctor, but some experiences down the line made me realize that in my own sphere, I was a professional, but outside my sphere, there were a lot of things about life that I knew nothing about. And so I actually set out on a personal quest to learn many of the things that mattered in life, because I felt that I was in a professional bubble. Many of us will be able to relate to this. So in my own terms, I was the quintessential illiterate professional. And this book actually was born from the learning that I had in the process. So what's the book about? What is success to you? How do you define it? How do you know when you get there? And then what is fulfillment? We have a lot of people that seem to have attained a lot of material things, but they're still not happy in life. And then there's a lot of people that practically live from hand to mouth, and yet they're very happy. So what then is success and what then is fulfillment? How do you define it? So my book sets out to define these things in relation to your personal finances, your relationships, your productivity, first from my personal experience, and then using a lot of practical examples from some of the most successful people in the world, people like Richard Branson, Bill Gates, Jack Ma, and also from the oldest living people in the world, who are the centenarians of Ogimi. So this book is definitely a good book to read. I've had a lot of positive reviews from people that have read it. And I think the one that wowed me the most was someone who I've not met, but said that she read the book and she went for an interview and she was quoting parts of the book to the interviewers and they were absolutely wowed. And I think this is absolutely mind-blowing. And this gives me joy because knowing that I'm able to add positively to the lives of people, that's something that really makes me happy.
Oh, Tunde, that's amazing that you've actually inspired others as well. And if they're quoting your book already, you've already released it relatively soon, right? It's not been too long since it's been on the market.
It's about 2 months now.
Wow. So there's millions of others you can still inspire. Thank you, Tunde. Tanya, how about yourself? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your books again?
Yep. I'm going to quickly go off virtual background. So my book, my first book is called How to Make a Decision. I know it's backwards, apologies. And this was actually inspired by another Toastmaster who wrote on Facebook, anyone seen any good books about decision making? Now, decision making is quite natural to me. I've been doing it since I was a child, putting all together business cases before I even knew the terminology.
See your mum heading there.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a few stories there. And it just made me think, why would people need a book on decision making? But a lot of other Toastmasters and other friends on Facebook said they would really appreciate this. So to be honest, it kind of went from there. I started a few paragraphs, made a book, and then it got published a couple of years ago. Following on from there, I've written a second one, which is that one. So it's a little bit similar, but it's called How to Make a Decision, Lucy's Choice. And the idea is that people read a lot of self-development books, but it's like with technical language. You read something, but it's until you actually live through it that you start to really understand it. So what happens in Lucy's Choice is the character actually picks up the self-development book, How to Make a Decision, and you see her use the skills in a fictional environment. In this case, if you haven't worked it out, she's been posted, and work through the decision of how do I accept the decision or not, and how to work through some of the more technical aspects of decision making.
Oh, wow. So if you want to find out if Lucy does actually get married in the end or accept the proposal, that's the book to go to. Thank you, Tanya. So Mish, you write a different kind of style books. I think what we've heard are a bit of a mixture between fiction and self-development.
Yeah, I'm purely fiction. I've always written a little bit here and there all my life. And then one day I came across a site called NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. and it takes part every November. It's an American thing. And between the 1st and the 30th of November, you have to write a 50,000 word novel.
Wow.
It's not about, it's to get rid of the writer's block, you have to just write, even if it's bad. So it's not about quality, it's about quantity. And then when you end up with, I have 2 finished items here.
Oh, wow.
Which both seem to, probably backwards, which both seem to write themselves, because once you're writing there, you think, I can't stop. If you stop, you lose all momentum. But you can go back and edit them later. So I haven't edited them yet because I just haven't edited them yet. But what's really good is we have a community online. And so as you're writing, you think, oh no, I'm 1,000 words behind on my word count. And you get an email saying, I bet you're 1,000 words behind, aren't you? Because they've all been through it. So we meet up in a coffee shop in Birmingham on a Saturday or Sunday to catch up on our word counts. And you can do about 4,500 words per half hour. So we have an hour silence, an hour of chatting. And so it's really part of a community thing as well. It's not just about writing the books. I find that the first one just flowed easily. After that, it became more difficult to sort of convoluting plots. So I found that personally for me, if I convolute it too much, it becomes stilted. So, but yeah, it's a joy. I actually love doing it.
So what inspires you to write then, Mish, other than the challenge of doing it within a month?
I've always had stories in my head. I've just always done it. And I've got maybe 40, 50 sort of short first 2 paragraphs of novels all over the place in a folder. And it's just, you lose momentum after a while. You sort of start writing and think, oh, I don't know where it's going. So the National Novel Writing Month makes you know it. You have to find out where it's going. You have to follow it. But I just love stories. I tell them all the time. And I look at something and think, oh, I bet she's got a story behind her head. And you sit in the cafe and just make up a story for the person. It's just what I do.
Oh, wow. And are your books published at the moment?
Not yet, no. They haven't ISBN numbers. They're on Lulu. You can get them on Lulu because they're self-published. But you need an ISBN number and then you can't re-edit easily.
So I'm looking forward to those when they come out. I do like a good fiction book.
I'll lend you one.
Definitely. So let's just mix it up a little bit. Abz, what inspires you to write? Where do you get your inspiration from and your thoughts of where your books come from?
All the books based on, because I'm fascinated about personal development, and I'm a big fan, and I always listen to like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, you name it. I'm a big fan of personal development. So books based on past, present, future, and how I developed from nobody to somebody. And that's all through mindset, changing mindset. So that's what's my inspiration. And I want to leave with books that leaves me with legacy around the world. People recognize me that a common person, nothing become a success. Yeah. I've written 2, so I've got another 3 in the pipeline. Next one to end of Christmas, before Christmas. That will be based on the mindset, how we work on the mindset. And then the more going to be followed, the more books I write, the more legacy I leave around the world. So I got nothing to harm. And Amazon is my publisher. So
you never know, Abz. One day someone in Toastmasters speaking or public speaking will be referencing your books, right?
Internationally, I might be recognized as a speaker, get my books out there. That's the new objectives.
That's the aim. Wow. Obviously. Tunde, what about yourself? What inspired you to write? I know you said a little bit in your introduction, but where do you get inspiration from?
All right, thank you. So, I mean, for me, I think what inspires me to write is my ongoing learning in the realm of personal development, similar to what I've said, and also the continuous realization that there's a lot of people out there who are, if you permit me to say, floating through life helplessly, but deep down, they're actually yearning for knowledge that can help them find purpose and navigate through life. And I think that there is this huge vacuum, like I've said, and it needs to be urgently filled with value. And this is where I think I'm finding some relevance. So for me, basically, it's the more I learn, that's the more I write and the more I share. So even now that I'm doing videos, even before I do videos, I write it out, and then I reflect upon it before I do videos. So for me, the more I learn, I think the more I'm able to write.
Wow. No, I think that's a good point. The more you learn, the more you can write about it and share what you've learned through your writing again to other people. That's great. What about yourself, Tanya? Where do you get your inspiration from?
It's a mixture, as Ab said, is probably the main thing. It's having that legacy. It's being able to say, I'm an author, and you don't expect to get rich. We're no J.K. Rowling here. But it'd be nice if it happened one day. Yeah, that's the dream. But it's mostly about sort of being able to say, I've got a book, and having that really complete, finalised checklist. I think everyone knows somebody who's been writing a book for 20 years and never actually got round to it. But also, there's, from a self-development point of view, there's a level of, I have knowledge in a specific area. It's probably why I'm not as much in the self-development area, because all the things I know are in a book now. I'm trying to find another whole area. You don't want to be, I'm not all jack of all trades. I'm quite focused on what I know. And what I also find going forwards is I am moving more into fiction, which I find personally harder to write. But when I buy a lot of books off Kindle for, I don't know, like 20 pence each or sometimes free. And as you read it, you think, I could write better than that. And that makes you think, oh, I've got to start actually doing it. So the more I read, the more it makes me want to be the person who I'm actually reading about.
So do you tend to read more self-development books or fictional?
So I've done one self-development, one which is a half self-development, half fiction. And then the next ones I'm looking at are sort of pure dystopian fiction.
Wow.
And that will probably be the series. I don't think there'll be another pure self-fiction book. It might be those hybrid self-fiction, fiction. So while Lucy's made a decision, she can pass a book on to her son-in-law or her nephew, who maybe has to decide which university to go to. And then you can start using a book in different fictional areas.
Well, that's good. I tend to gear towards, I've read a few self-development books, but I think I tend myself to gear towards thriller books. And that's since I've joined your Heart of England book club. And I think I've found my niche now where I really like reading them. I can read a fictional book within 3-4 days now quite easily. And self-development ones, it takes me a little bit longer, but I still get through them. And I think you have to be in the right mindset as well if you're reading self-development books. You have to want to make that change. So Mish, what kind of books do you tend to read typically? Is it?
I used to be a prolific reader, particularly long sagas that follow families through history and stuff. I've never read a self-development book, sorry.
You've got plenty to choose from now.
In a very arrogant way, I think I've got this far in life by myself, and I don't think I've done too badly, so I don't really want to be told I've got it wrong. So to me, self-development is something that you have to either want to do or you don't. And in my situation, I'm where I want to be, sort of thing. But I don't read much anymore. I've been trying to read, but I can't concentrate very easily. And again, with Toastmasters in the back of my mind all the time, you pick up a book and you think, oh, this will make a good speech. Oh, I can make a... And so you put the book down and write a speech or write an idea. So I don't read as much as I should do, really, I think. I joined the book club with Asma, and I got 3/4 through that book, and it was really difficult to finish it.
I think it depends on the book sometimes as well, and who the author is. And with fictional books, I've been reading since, so at the beginning of March we started a book club, and I started reading the books. And with the fictional ones, I've been reading it within the week quite easily. I'll try to block out that time in my morning or my evening to read for that, even if it's 15-20 minutes.
I think my one barrier to reading was I don't like holding books, because you can't lie in bed and hold a book, and one side gets really heavy, the other side gets light. And it wasn't until I found a really good Kindle app for my iPad that I could start reading again, and now I can just stick my iPad on the shelf. So that was a big barrier to me.
Wow. Okay. I love the smell of just normal books.
I love them, but I can't hold
it just gets me, and I was like, I have a Kindle as well, but I don't use it as much as I should, really. I should save the trees. I do like the normal books and actual books. Tunde, how about yourself? Do you read fictional books as well and self-development ones, or are you geared towards one end more than the other?
Yeah, I think I would say I'm geared towards self-development more than fiction. I've not really read a lot of fiction books, to be honest. I used to read a lot of paperback books, and I still do. I prefer them, but because I don't have that much time, there was this application I found at the beginning of the year called Headway, and basically it summarizes the key points in books. And I think so far this year I've probably read about almost 90 books this year, just reading through each book. You could read through a book in about 20 minutes. So I think that's what I'm doing for now. And when I have time as well, I read full paperback books, but most of the time they're just personal development books, really.
Yeah, as a medical director in this time and age, I don't think you've got much free time, right?
We're trying.
You're trying. That's good. Got books at the back of your head. That's always a good sign. How about you, Abz? Do you seem like you geared more towards the self-development books? Because I always hear your quotes during your speeches. Do you read fictional books as well?
I'm same as Tunde. I'm more into self-development. I'm a person, I'm always on the go, but I'm a big fan of audiobooks because while I'm working, I'm listening personal development stuff. It helps me stay focused. And while I'm writing, I'm learning as well.
Yeah.
Through ears, it's different because I don't have time to read. I'm always on the go. I've got so much things to do. Can't fit everything one day, even the whole week or the month. That's how busy. So I've listened to audiobooks.
Okay.
I could listen to audiobooks like 10 a week.
Wow.
And each audiobooks can be about an hour or two. I just take it in and then I develop internally and it comes out externally as well. So that's how I grow. And audiobooks, I'm a big fan. But no fiction, just purely self-development mindset work.
Wow. And I think we can tell as well when you speak that you do listen to or read a lot of books and you listen to it multiple times as well because the message always comes out and the quotes come out so easily when you speak. I don't think I'm able to do that so easily with the quotes.
Sorry, Asma, when are you going to write a book?
What this is all about. You have to inspire me to write a book, inspire our audience to write a book.
I'll need that one.
I'll write one on the Toastmasters and Zoom maybe. There's enough content there, right?
You heard about the one-day novel?
Pardon?
The one-day novel.
One
day I write a novel, and everybody's got a one-day novel.
Where does the time go as well is one of the books that we should write because that's the thing that runs away quite easily.
I think you should do a book on your... you should do your progress in your Toastmaster from lower level to high level. You can do
my journey.
Your journey, yeah, Asma journey to Toastmaster.
Asma's only halfway through.
Got another DTM to do.
Yeah, we're on the second half of a DTM at the moment, so yeah, there's always things to learn in Toastmasters, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just going to come to I don't think this will be my final questions. I've always got questions to ask, but if you did have a recommendation to anyone who wanted to start writing their own material, what would your recommendations be? It can be more than one. Who wants to go first? Tunde, I see Tunde nodding. He's got the ideas in his head.
Okay. Well, it's not something out of the blues actually. My recommendation to anyone who wants to start writing or who wants to start doing anything significant is just get started. The secret to getting ahead is getting started, really. Just start from a page to a paragraph. Sorry, from a paragraph to a page to a chapter, and then just go on and on. That's how you progress, really, and that's how you gather momentum. A couple of people might say, oh, someone else has actually written something about what I want to write, so there is no point in adding any knowledge to the world. But that's not true because there is nobody in the world that can do the things you do the exact way you do it. And rather than letting that discourage you, I think that should serve as proof of concept that if someone has done it, then I can do it as well. So I usually tell people that we all have or know something that the world is willing to hear or learn. So I think the way to do it is just get started. If you get stuck along the way, ask for help. That's it, really.
Wow. That's good, Tunde. Thank you for that. See, there might be a book coming from me now. You never know. Tanya, how about yourself? What would you recommend?
I'd say most importantly is that the writing process is so different for everybody. I take a very logical approach, so it's worked out both in fiction and non-fiction. I would start off with what content I want. So, for example, if I looked at the decision-making book, I would write each bit of content and then make each bit into a paragraph. So I've got decision biases, decision complexity, deadlines, support, contingency plans. Literally write out all the keywords. make all of those a chapter, and then write 1 or 2 words underneath it, and then you just keep taking every sentence and then expanding it. It's like a really, really long school essay, basically. But the same thing with a fiction book. It would be just chatting to a boyfriend. He takes to a cult group. It's going to be a very weird book. They have a first incident, second incident, third, and I can take first incident, put it into a chapter, what's the incident, and then essentially write it all out. I mean, you go and put in the happy, fluffy words around it, or descriptive and stuff. And again, it's the same for how you like to write. Some people say write for an hour, or you sit down and do it, write for an hour, take a break every half an hour to an hour. It takes me a very long time to get into the mindset. So I'll probably spend about an hour procrastinating, to be honest. I'll be like, I've got to do something. But once I'm in the flow, I will go for about 3 or 4 hours. If I stop in there, then I have to redo all that procrastination again. So I'm very much a fan of sit down, work for 5 to sometimes 10 hours straight, but then take 1 5-hour break afterwards. Whereas some people like little and often.
Well, that's good advice as well. And how about you, Mish? How do you bring all your characters together as well when you write?
Basically, I get an idea, and when the idea, I always get somebody to throw in a random character I have to build into the story, so that they can be an unusual person, and that can actually have like a side plot, and a side plot can always help the own plot get more involved and more interesting. You know, my first novel, she was a hotel owner, and one of the guests in the hotel had a certain character, so every time she came into the foyer, you could actually add a little bit of texture to it. So that worked for me. But again, back to the novel writing month, what the principle of that is, you write. It doesn't matter what it is, you just write. And if it's rubbish, it doesn't matter because you've only had a month. So you can say, I know it's rubbish. But if anyone gives you a compliment, you can say thank you. So it's positive all round. So the first one I wrote, like I say, wrote itself. The second one, somebody read it as, well, she wouldn't have done that at the end. I think, well, that doesn't mean she exists, thank you. Because all I wanted was somebody who existed. So the fact they all knew she wouldn't do it, it was the 30th of November at midnight, I had to finish the novel. I've reached the end and everyone said she wouldn't do that. I'm thinking, yes, so she exists. Yeah. And that was quite a nice thing to take away. So that person knows a whole person, and she's not based on anybody else at all. She is her. And I find that I'm okay at doing that. But I do it in my job when I'm driving around. You know, why did that person walk out in front of you? Give them a life. Well, it's no fault, you know, husband's moaning about the tea being late or something. But I've got a very inventive brain. That's the way I work.
No, that's good. That is. I always like a book when the characters, you can resonate with the character as well. And you can't read another book for a couple of days, so they've left your life really for that short period of time. How about yourself, Abz? What recommendations would you give to the audience about writing?
Is first work on your mind and say why I'm writing this book and so forth. So you have to outline who's your target market, who would like it, and then I would do a brainstorming, the title of the book, and then do clouds of the sections of each section, and just work on each section, and just block out half an hour, and just write. So on your outline and your ideas, and it will come in place. Sometimes you can't go sleep. Sometimes you have oh no, I got something to write about this book, and you get up and you go on your phone, you go on your note, and you just note it like digitally instead of writing it. And so you get that feeling. So it's about just follow what your mind says and what your heart says, and just do it, just deliver it basically, and see where it takes you. But you have to know your end game, who you're targeting as well.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely a good point, and it's also a good point to keep maybe a notebook by your bedside when you're trying to fall asleep, or first thing when you wake up, to note all these amazing ideas down. So how has Toastmasters influenced you becoming an author, or has it influenced you becoming an author? Tanya, should we go to you first?
Ooh. I think Toastmasters, one, it gives you the confidence to think that you can do something. I joined Toastmasters and I was, probably 22, 23, I think. And I literally was quite scared to answer the phone at work, which was most of my job. So I started up at the very bottom of the Toastmasters chain, so we say. And as I got older, I don't know if it was a bit of age, a bit of life, a bit of Toastmasters, but you started to think, oh, I can't write a book. Well, why can't you? And when you don't have a reason, you think, okay, I can do the stuff that other people are doing. But also you meet quite a variety of people in Toastmasters. And I've always said there's not many groups. If you don't want to do cooking or sports or music, there's not really that much social stuff to do. So you get a really wide variety. If I was in a sports group, I'd probably be hanging out with, I don't know, 20 to 30-year-old really fit people, or older guys who want to do a bit of tennis in the weekend to get off their day job. But you get literally every type of opinion in Toastmasters, rich, poor, young, old, and it's really good to hear very different points of views.
No, definitely. And I think that adds to your book and the experience as well, doesn't it? And the thoughts that come in when you want to start writing your own material. How about you, Tunde? How has Toastmasters helped you? Because I know you did a little video after you released your book.
Yeah, so Toastmasters basically helped me before I published my book, during the publishing process, and afterwards. I think I can say Toastmasters has helped in 3 major ways. And the first is that at Toastmasters, I got an environment where I was in a group of people that were not just dreamers, but were actual doers. So I found a healthy space to share my ideas and get feedback on how I could improve my ideas. Secondly, I think Toastmasters has kept me accountable. I remember at the beginning of the year, we had a meeting and was asked that what one thing would you want to achieve before the end of the year? And I said, for me, it would be to complete my book and publish it. And because of that open profession of what I wanted to do, I think it spurred me on to carry on and then to finish the book. And I think thirdly, but probably most importantly, is the massive encouragement and support that I get from people at Toastmasters. When I wanted to publish the book, I didn't know how to go about it. And Abz is also here on the show today. I reached out to him and he gave me a lot of advice on how I could go about publishing the book, and I actually followed that. In addition, some members from Toastmasters helped to read through my manuscript, and they gave me suggestions for improvement. And just like you said, I'm still doing videos even now that I've published the book, and I'm getting advice from someone from Toastmasters on how I could effectively market my book. So I think for me, Toastmasters has been there all through the writing journey for me.
Wow. I do remember you saying that at the beginning of the year, Tunde. So what a great achievement. You've actually ticked something off your list. Well done. How about yourself, Abz?
What was the question again?
Not listening? How has Toastmasters helped you through your journey of becoming an author?
Well, good thing about Toastmaster is sorry about that, I was listening to Tunde, like I was like miles away, but like...
I'll forgive you this time.
But he's correct. Asking people help and all that, Toastmaster provide you that facility, that support, and every member is always helpful, able to help you take you to the next level, what you require. Toastmaster helped me with competency and thinking on your feet. Then before you have to think beforehand, now you have to think on the spot, which is creativity as well, which is good. Also help learn new skills. The book writing, that just come out of nowhere. It was not planned. My 5-year plan, it was not planned. It only happened suddenly when the pandemic happened. Yeah. That made me think, I have to do something useful for myself. And that's why I said to myself, I'm going to do 5 books within a year. So I've released 2, third one's on its way, 2 more to come as well, so 5. So that thinking, creativity, all that, I think that come through the Toastmaster overall experience here. And so it helps you. You could think on your feet, whatever happens, whatever market you're in, whatever environment you're in.
So did your speeches inspire your book then? Because I know you've done a few speeches around your journey. So did your speeches inspire your book?
So the first book,
yeah,
because I used to get a lot of calls to do talks on my book, and I used to get paid for it, by the way. So the speaking, but that majority of my speaking gigs are cancelled. And that inspired me to do that first book. So when I go to speaking in the near future, I can tell them I've got a book based on my talk, and if they want to purchase it, they can. So that was what. Then after that, then second book was based on experience and knowledge, and so
that's good.
What happened during March that it changed my thinking and everything changed completely.
So the pandemic changed you for the positive, right?
Instead of thinking negativity, you'd rather think positivity and
That's
make use of your time while you're locked down and so forth. So while I was locked down, I was busy writing. So I helped.
that's good. So Abz, where can we find your book? Is it just on Amazon or?
So Amazon, you can see on my website, www.abzjalil.com. You can see all my information on there. So abzjalil.com. That's where you can find the links as well to the Amazon.
Okay.
All the books and about myself. And if you want to reach out, you can for advice, talk anytime. Please go through my website. All the information there for you.
Fantastic. And Tunde, which sites are your books? Is your book available on?
Well, so my book is on multiple sites. To be honest, I don't even know some of the sites where my book is being sold on because I distributed it through a channel called Ingram Spark. But yes, I think the major place where the book is being sold is on Amazon. I think Barnes and Noble stocks is as well. It's on eBay, it's on eBooks and a couple other sites. For people in Nigeria, because of the reach, I put it on another website called Konga, which is kind of like a major online retailer in Nigeria. Yeah, if you check my website as well, you probably get a link to the Amazon page. So I think Amazon is probably the most reliable place to find my book. And they are doing a discount at the moment, so go for it.
Oh, wow. Yes, I did see that earlier today, actually. We'll definitely be going on that one. Tanya, how about yourself? Is your book available on Amazon and other sites or just on Amazon at the moment?
Yeah, it's the same as Tunde's. I've got to go through Ingram Sparks as well. So most Amazon's the main area, and both in hard, like paperback and Kindle version. And also it's available on the websites like Waterstones, Foils. Again, it comes up in the database that goes out to all the places. So it pretty much is everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where the time but I found somebody selling it cheaper than I sell it for, which was a bit eerie. I don't know who or how, but apparently they sell it cheaper. So yeah, there's deals out there with other people.
Fantastic. And Mish, yours is Watch This Space. So hopefully we'll see some of that come to life soon.
I think I need to finish editing it, yes, and get it onto Google and onto Amazon or something, yeah. One thing I was going to say about Toastmasters and writing is that it's instant gratification. Writing a book takes hours, weeks, days, whatever, and then you have to have it peer-reviewed. With Toastmasters, you write a speech and you have it automatically, immediately peer-reviewed in front of people and validated. And it's like shortcut novels. So I see my Toastmaster speeches as little children of novels, not the whole novel itself, but little snippets of novels. And I've kept them all for that reason. So if you have any inkling for writing, it's a great way to start. And you maybe want to put more together in a big scenario one day.
Yeah, I do feel like when you're writing speeches, and I see through different Toastmasters at different clubs as well, when they do speeches, you start and you can see the more speeches they do, the whole theme is quite related to it's quite easy to put a book together with all that knowledge you're gathering and the different ways your story goes, whether it's about yourself or somebody else. I think it's quite easy to, once you start writing speeches, you get the buzz for it, don't you, for writing?
I think so.
Do any of you have any last remarks before we close out for today?
I've got one.
Go on then, Tunde.
So basically, I think everyone in life, we've all got blind spots, and it's this blind spots that limit us. And basically, the way we reduce the blind spots is by getting useful information, whether it's through reading books, it's attending Toastmasters, or however you get this useful information. So the more useful information you get, the more you reduce your blind spots, and the more you reduce your blind spots, then your field of vision expands. And as your field of vision expands, then you find out that the possibilities and the opportunities that come up to you just begin to open up in ways you never really imagined. So I think my takeaway message for everyone should be reduce your blind spots in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tunde. Anybody else? Yeah, go for it.
Writing's probably one of the uniquest things in the world in that anyone can do it. It doesn't matter if you are well educated, if you're young, if you're old, if you can run around with a ball or not. It is for everybody, and also it's free, which literally nothing's for free anymore. So as long as you've got a piece of paper or you've got a laptop, you can write, and you can do it as quick as you want, or you can spend 20 years on it if you want. But and you can be for everybody or just for yourself, but it's free and it's available for everybody. So use it as an outlet and have a go. You can't really mess up that badly. Worst case, nobody buys your book, but you still got some credibility.
Definitely.
Sad but true.
I think you've all inspired me to start writing. Okay, go Mish, sorry. Like
Yes, basically, another way of starting off writing is blogging. Blogging is a really good shortcut, and I started blogging at the end of every Toastmaster meeting, and you find you get yourself a personality and get some stuff in there, and it's a good way to start. So if you're not quite sure if you can write yet, blog about anything you like, blog about your shoes, and you'd be surprised how much fun you can get and how your skills improve.
Wow, I could definitely do that about shoes quite easily. So I want to thank you all today, and for our viewers watching. If you want to buy any of these books, I will post the links under our post later today. So you can go onto Amazon or just search for their names and you'll find their books. So I hope you are inspired and you enjoyed our meetings. And just remember, Walsall speakers do meet on the first, second and third Thursday of each month. We meet via Zoom, and on the first and third, we also meet at Walsall College. So if you are interested to come and attend as a guest, remember it's free for the first 3 meetings, and you can contact us on any social media site and we will get in contact. So I want to thank you very much and have an amazing rest of the day, and say bye to our guests. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.